to have the awareness that I believe is not only my gift, sometimes it does feel like a curse, but this, spiritual, I don't know how to explain it other than just to say that awareness. It's not always been comfortable. It's not always been something that has been easy. I've even got negatives from it. You have the negative stigmas. Oh, you're a heathen. Oh, you don't believe in God. Oh, you're a witch. This, that, and the third. And now I have negative connotations, and nobody wants to be negative or feel negative, so you suppress or shun even yourself and not pay respect to that. But as you grow and as I have grown and evolved, I recognize that I do have to pay attention to that. This awareness has always existed since I was a child, and as I'm growing it and in developing it, it's really helping me to understand the benefit of who and what I am. But I cannot turn away from that. I had at previous one time when I couldn't understand things, I used to be scared of death. I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. I remember being a child, because I did have to deal with death so much as a child with, older relatives dying, not really understanding the concept of death. That didn't make sense to me. How could I be walking around right now, talking, thinking, having active thought, and I'm telling you, like I was a child thinking like this, all of a sudden one day it would be no more? Would it be like I would be just laying there in the dark thinking and nothing was happening? Would I be dark and not thinking? I'm still thinking as though I have a conscious awareness and not having it at the same time. That should have let me know then that, hey, chick, you're a little bit more aware than you think you are. So death really used to scare me. I didn't understand it. And then as I did think so much on death and pulling those energies, I would see things that I don't think most people would see, or have awarenesses or feel sensitivities around certain things or sense things that weren't there. As I became, a teenager and early adulthood, I felt like, or thought that was manifested as a mental illness, because when you have these negative effects and people can't deal with you or understand how you know things, or you should, not be where you are because of your behaviors, but at the same time you're talented and it doesn't make sense, you got to find a way to classify that. A lot of times with our spiritually inclined and aware people, that is manifested as a mental illness, and the best way to suppress that is medication. I fell along those lines and trying to suppress self, and one day self just rebelled and was like, yo, I don't like these effects. I wasn't me. I couldn't function as not only just what I believed to be a human being, I didn't have that unique force that was self. So as I have evolved and grown, and I'm starting to, really understand what it is and be able to tap into it, I don't fear death, because I understand that life and existence is a matter of perspective, and I understand that even when this physicality is in it, there's still that transcendental aspect of existence, that non-physicality, that as a being, I am an energy. I'm not this physical thing. I am still very much interconnected, not only with my ancestors, not only with actual just existence, but that existence of origin. I am aware that not only as a person of color, but as the feminine representation of humanity, I am origin. I am aware of that. So when it is time for me to dissipate in this physicality, I don't have fear of that. It's not that I welcome it, but whenever that time comes, I just pray that I am at that level that I understand my next phase of existence and I can operate. There are things in this physical world that we attach to that make us want to stay here, and now that I have, replicated myself and I have children, I will miss them, and I will have that emotional connection to their sadness of me not being here in the physicality. But my objective and goal is to have my children to be at the level where they truly understand what life and existence is and my belief, so that they realize even when I'm no longer here physically, that I will still be with them. They can still communicate with me, and it'll just be a different phase. The one thing, though, that I know to be true for me is that I honestly believe that I am one of the few that are here to help heal humanity and remind us of our essence and our soul and our spirituality, and more importantly, most immediately in my perspective, being a brown individual, is going to be in my community that I respect that, and to understand that meant to be, your purpose, and what you believe life and your existence is an amazingly humbling, great, overwhelming, magnanimous event to be going through. However, I never, as a child or, younger, I like I said previously, I feared death, but I never saw a specific means or matter or way in which I saw my own personal demise. So, I didn't like it, didn't care for it, this, that, and the third. However, I didn't see it for myself, although I can be aware of it and have been in the presence and aware of death. But as I do grow and I become aware in my path and my focus and my specific life experience journey, I'm starting to become aware that the very thing that I am, I feel more than likely will be the reason for my demise. There are a lot of times that I don't want to speak on the things that I know or that I'm aware of, that I feel moved, and that's why letting the book out and Portia Allows We to be trying to get this motivational healing business is a leap of faith for me in more ways than I can a lot of times, verbalize, because I recognize that it's going to be my demise. There are going to be entities or forces that do not want me and my purpose and my existence to be spread to the masses. I may find myself under some very scrupulous watch or, just intent on stopping that, and for you to be coming or walking into yourself and understand that this will, you being exactly who you are, more than likely, let's take probability out of it, but you can sense it and understand that it too will be the end of you in this physical representation. That's a lot. That's a lot. I still need to grow. I still need to evolve, but I understand this more than likely will be however it manifests, the cessation of my most immediate awareness. That's a lot to take in, and sometimes I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if this would be something to be happy about, sad about, but I do know and I feel in my core that everything that I am and what I sense and believe, I believe in it. I believe in it wholeheartedly. I believe in it with my being and my essence. So if I do believe in something with all my being and my essence, how dare I turn away from that, whatever that may be. And again, when it comes to being a human, that is what makes any person's great. I don't care what they looked like, where they came from. They knew who they were, what they were, and they believed in it, and they moved forward with that. And even those, and a majority of them, just about all of them, they ended their most immediate or this physical representation living every day, moving forward and pushing forward in that belief. So if that is going to be the end result, that, okay, well, physically I won't be here in my form like this as Maria anymore, but I have spread to millions that seed, I'm willing to take that sacrifice for humanity, for my children, because I want this world to be a better place for my children. I understand that my children are my immortality, for they will bear my children's and, sons and daughters throughout this illusion we call time. My physical representation will be remanifested in them. So if I am setting forth roots or planting seeds for them to get out of this state of illusion, so, down on the line that they are in a better state, I'm willing to do that. My ancestors before me did that without hesitation. So how can I not? To have